the mayor of Spokane, Washington, where her chapter is located, has asked her to step down from the city's police oversight panel. He calls her recent conduct unacceptable. Earlier, she attempted to explain challenges to her racial identity to NBC Today show host Matt Lauer. Are you an African-American woman?
I identify as Black.
All the headlines, top trending item on Twitter.
Well, first of all, I really don't see why they're in such a rush to whitewash some of the work that I have done and who I am and how I've identified. And this goes back to a very early age with my self-identification with the Black experience as a very young child.
Well, to help us break down the public's outrage at this story, our guests are life coach Sharmayne Jenkins and freelance writer Lauren Rankin. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much. I almost don't even know where to start with this story, but let me just start wide. As an African-American woman, Sharmayne, clearly you are. What is your reaction to her and her story that she identifies as a Black woman?
Well, at first it was a joke to me. I just thought it outrageously funny. And then, as it started to really pick up steam, it became offensive to me. Because you're not an African-American woman because you got a good hair weave and you found something to help your complexion, to liken it to ours. There's a whole experience that comes with it. And if you haven't been subjected to what it is that we have and having grown up in all of these parameters that we've had to suffer through, then you cannot claim to be Black just because you feel like it.
All right, I want to come back to the whole experience, but let me just get your general reaction, Lauren. As a white woman in this country, what's your reaction to her?
I think on the one hand, obviously, it's admirable for any white person to want to advance racial justice and to fight for racial justice. That doesn't mean we have to appropriate Blackness as a costume. Blackness isn't a costume you can put on, a weave you can wear, or a tan you can apply to your skin. It's a historical and political experience, and it's not something you just pick up and put on and wear for the world.
So would you have objected less, Sharmayne, if she had just said, listen, I was born to white parents, I'm a blonde-haired white girl, but I identify with the struggle of this community and I want to help. Would you have been all right with that?
Absolutely. There are plenty of white folks walking around here with their hair locked, with Afrocentric clothing on, who are totally submerged within our culture. But they're not running around here trying to be Black. And that's the problem. It's not even a trying to be, it's a claiming to be.
And that raises the question, though, ladies, and I want you both to speak on this. What does being Black actually mean? What is being Black? I'm looking at you like, you tell me, Lauren. What is being Black? I'll let Sharmayne start, but you have something to add to this. So what does that mean? When we give a name to the color of our skin, because that's what Black, white, Asian is really about. It's about the amount of melanin in our skin. Right. What does that really mean?
And let's just say, in America, we didn't call ourselves that initially. We were born here and they separated us in terms of who we were. You made the constraints and you created the experience that we had, you meaning the dominant culture, white folks. They named us, they differentiated us, and they treated us in a certain way that created an experience that now is the embodiment of what it means to be Black. We didn't subject ourselves to everything that has created inherently who we are. That was something that was thrust on us, and it continues to be thrust on us today. So until you have gone through that, not conveniently when you feel like it, when it works and when it's cute, but if you haven't grown up in it and been subjected to it and have a generational effects of what it means to be Black in America, you don't get to be Black when you feel like it when your favorite jam comes on.
Right, and race is a social construction, we know this, but that doesn't mean that it's a universal experience. And I think to be Black in America means not just to move through the world in a certain way and to be marked in a certain way, but you carry with you a historical and political context that was thrust onto you that you didn't necessarily choose for yourself. And it's possible, what it really bugs me about her is that she's sort of towing this line of I'm transracial. And there are transracial families who are overwhelmingly offended by this kind of comparison she's making, where transracial doesn't mean you get to move from white to black because you feel like you are black or you colored with a brown crayon when you were a child. That's not what it means to be black.
But let me throw this out here, and I know Sharmayne her head is going to explode with this question. But because of where we are in our society, because frankly, very few people, particularly people of color, are all of any one thing. We are not purely African. Most Americans aren't. We are a true melting pot.
Absolutely.
So then, have we moved past the discussion of race and the label of race? Because in this country, the word means so much less because we're so intermingled.
It doesn't mean much less in terms of how we're treated and the perspectives. When this educational system in this district where it's black has a whole standard that isn't upheld within the white community, when you can't shop, when you can't drive, when you can't go to the swimming pool because you're black, race is still a discussion here. So, it sounds really good that we are the world and, all of this good stuff. But the reality is that every day, black people are being subjected to things that others aren't along the wide spectrum of our hues.
So I'm not a guest in this segment, so I'm not really supposed to be giving my perspective, but I just want to say this.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate that we are talking about this one individual and her questionable approach to perhaps a noble cause instead of the real issues that need to be discussed.
Right. We're not discussing Rakia Boyd, who was shot and killed by police in Chicago. We're not discussing the Jerry Breckton, who was the 15-year-old girl at the swimming pool in Texas. We're not discussing the 12-year-old girl in Ohio who just had her jaw fractured by police because she was at a swimming pool.
Exactly.
And this woman claims that she doesn't want to be a liability to the cause, but she's subsumed everything related to this topic. She's welcome to go on her media tour if she really wants, but she's actually doing active damage to the cause that she claims to represent.
Because if you want to relegate black to a look, then it takes away from everything that we struggle with, that we go through, that has defined us and who we are. And there are so many stories. You mentioned a few of them right now that are going on. I mean, just the difference in how the media covers us. The other day, this lady that helped the prisoners, oh, what a victim she is.
Mitchell.
Yeah, she's such a victim of these bad guys. And then girls who are attacked at swimming pools, well, she had a hand in that too. She wasn't all that good. So, you look at her and then you stop looking at the important issues about the disparities there are in terms of how we're portrayed and how we're treated. And, this to me is just a whole little curtain to just keep us away from all these things. Look at Haiti.
Well, is this different in your mind, Sharmayne, because for as long as this country has been in existence, there have been black folk that have passed as white. They've had light skin, they've been able to straighten their hair, or maybe they had straight hair, and they were able to pass as white. Is this any different in your mind?
My great aunt did that. My grandmother's sister went for passing. So I get that. But the difference was that black people went to try to pass so they wouldn't have to be subjected to the horrors that it meant to be black. She's trying to pass so she can get down with a cause that will make her shine out there in public.
All right, I'm almost completely out of time here, Lauren, so make this concise if you can. I know what the black community is saying about Rachel Dolezal. What do white folks say?
Well, if white folks even care, I think most are sort of pushing her off as some sort of fluke, random story, but I think it's unfortunate that the white community isn't really interrogating what she's doing or what's going on, and I'd like to see that more from white people.
Very interesting, an ambivalence there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Very interesting. Ladies, this is a great discussion. I wish we could keep going, but we got to stop. Sharmayne, Jenkins, Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you.